Hey everybody, this video is a tribute to DPR Jones, who I just learned via Dick Coughlin passed away recently. It's a very tragic and untimely demise, and he will be very much missed. DPR Jones, or Richard to those of us who knew him personally, was one of the leading lights in the early burgeoning atheist, secular, skeptic community that emerged on YouTube in the early days of YouTube, the early years. And he was a good friend to me and someone that I knew to take, I knew him to take his fame and his stardom with a great deal of down to earth humility, and he was always a very generous, very helpful person to everybody that knew him personally. And I come at this from an interesting angle because in recent years, in about the last 3 years, I have been on a course of study towards becoming a Christian. And I say on a course of study because I do not believe it is appropriate to call yourself a Christian until you have taken confirmation. But and that said, I've not talked about it much publicly because I don't want to be a public voice for religion at all. But privately, I have been studying to join the Episcopal Church. And that decision came about over many years and a great deal of introspection and reflection about who I was and what it was I actually believed. Nevertheless, I never had the opportunity to express any of this to Richard. He and I had not been in contact in recent memory, recent years, so I never expressed any of this to him. What's interesting, though, is as I took this course of action, this journey in my life, I found that none of my political beliefs changed at all. I still agree with, by the way, and support the theory of evolution. I think evolution is the answer to how and not why. But I still want science taught in science class. I don't want prayer in schools. I don't want any of my beliefs forced on any other person. Even and the fact that they are my beliefs does not add to that desire or does not create a desire to force them on anybody. And I think that at its very best, that atheist community, that skeptic community that came out early on, was it was a group of people that wanted to resist blind dogma and were ardent about blind dogma not being the basis for our secular laws. And indeed, I still agree that it shouldn't be. So, for all of my conversion, I am not a creationist, and I'm certainly not a political Christian at all. I believe very strongly in the separation of church and state. And I think that bringing the state into religion undercuts the good that religion can do. So it was a very it was a very interesting transitional period for me the last couple of years, and now reflecting on Richard's passing through all of this. And what I have to say is that secular or skeptic community, I should say, really divided into two camps, two groups of people. It divided, early on we were all in it together, and we were all in one boat, and then very quickly it separated. It separated into people that were skeptical and atheistic no matter what, and people who professed skepticism and atheism, but still needed something to believe, and still needed some religious dogma to follow, and so they started seeking out secular religions, things like feminism and social justice and all of these political movements and socialism and all of these political movements that fill the void of meaning that religion provides. And so these kind of two heads of the same hydra sort of attacked each other, and Richard stayed on the side of rationality no matter what. He also did not attach himself to these new secular dogmas. And that is the mark of someone who truly has the strength of their convictions and truly believes in something, and truly has a set of values, I should say, that they believe in, and that is truly skeptical. And I would like to think that even in my own path and my own journey, I have carried I've carried that forward in my own thoughts and my own heart, that, you know, I will not abandon anything. I will not abandon the reality as we understand it through the scientific method and through science and through our secular understanding of the world. I will not abandon that for sake of my religious faith. You know, if I get sick, I'm going to the hospital, not the church. That kind of thing. Or I might go to the hospital and then the church. So I'm not. So that sort of thing. And I think if we can realize that what we're actually opposing and what we're actually fighting is dogmatic thinking and the desire to impose dogmatic thinking on other people, then I think we will live in then I think we will start to really be able to appreciate one another on a higher, more meta scale. That the battle that we fight, whether it's between atheists and religious people, or it's between Democrats and Republicans, or any of these other dimensions that we draw a line through and everything, and every line in the sand that we draw and all of that, if we can realize that ultimately our fight is between rationality versus blind dogmatism, and if we can understand that, then we can start to actually move forward as a people, and there will be, I think there will be a place. I think there will be a place for spirituality within that. And I think that the separation of church and state is an important, is the foundational premise of coming to that conclusion. Anyway, that's all a wide derivation to pay tribute to Richard, but I bring all of that up because I think while Richard and I had not spoken in a long time, I think that he would absolutely be understanding and amenable to that. I would like to think that. There was never anything in his nature that ever suggested to me that he was the sort of atheist who was a venomous, fire-breathing, hate-mongering atheist, which sadly is something that I was for a long time and something that I regret. He never struck me that way. He struck me always as a person who acted from a basic premise of human decency and human goodness. And that always resonated with me. And even now in my tract, which is removed from the dogmatic atheist versus atheist discussion altogether, I can still appreciate that, and I will miss him, and he will be in my thoughts. So while I have no aversion at all to drinking alcohol, I just don't have any on hand, so this is actually sparkling ice. But anyway, I wanted to raise a glass. This is part of a video montage that's being put together, so it's down there. The link is down there in the crotch bar if you want to be a part of it. Anyway, raising a glass to you, sir. Godspeed.